It's a long time. I think I stopped recording at about 12 and a half minutes. I was like, I've heard what I need to hear here. We're starting to get repetitive.
Well, because people come in and go,
and
so they ask the same questions over and over. But he does seem like he's sure of himself. He doesn't come across as somebody who thinks they're going to score 50 a week, which is what they were kind of saying last year at media days. Like, wow, this offense is really easy. Football is really easy. It's not a hard game at all.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem like he's worried that we're going to be terrible. I think he has a decent amount of confidence about him. You can hear it.
Well, that stems from his confidence in the approach that Clements brings and how much work he's done with this line to make them competent. I think that's really born out of that, because if you can just play to a standstill, you can play to a draw. You don't lose ground there. You don't have to dominate. The ball comes out quickly, so you can mitigate some weakness on that offensive line through scheme. Secondarily, I'd say that if you're assured or you feel good that that's going to happen, who wouldn't be pumped when you have a depth chart of Cam Akers and Kalon Laybourne and Anthony Grant at running back? It's Morian Terry and Warren Thompson and Trayshawn Harrison and Keyshawn Helton and DJ Matthews, and throw in on Jordan Young and guys like that. I mean, there's talent there, and we didn't even talk about the tight ends who play a bigger role oftentimes in Briles' offense. So if I've got Cameron McDonald and I've got Trey McKitty and to a certain extent even Gabe Neighbors, I feel really good about those guys. So I got weapons is my point as an OC. And as a play caller, if I can distribute the football to guys that take an 8-yard play and turn it into a 60-yard play, then I feel obviously pretty excited. I like my chances we'll hit some home runs here. I just need my quarterback to be accurate in the intermediate throws, and I need him to have a chance to stand upright and go through his progressions, and pretty quickly. Obviously, I mean, this is a quick read thing. But
so you still feel bullish? I think you opened by saying that you feel better than you did before media day. But a couple of weeks ago, you were thumping. You said, "All right, I feel really good about this."
That was born again from what I'm hearing about the offensive line. I don't think they're good. Again, I always have to preface this with the caveat that I'm saying they're going to be a lot better. But they had so much to improve that just getting a lot better only, again, takes you to a pretty low bar. So that's why I'm bullish, that and the schedule. And I don't know, bullish is 8-4. That's bullish. That 9-3 if everything works out for you and guys take huge strides. I doubt that'll happen, but I feel better about saying 8-4, but I think a lot of people do. I mean, I was asked yesterday, do I feel better about 6-6 or 9-3? If you forced my hand, I'd say 9-3, but I don't think either's going to happen. I think we're more likely 7-5, 8-4, and I think that's where a lot of people's mindset is.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Last Tallahassee Brew Bus. And hurry, there are under 10 seats remaining.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Exciting news for you loyal Florida State fans. Now you can show your Seminole pride plus get 15% off all regular priced FSU merchandise during Team Tuesdays. Remember to stop by any Garnet and Gold store location on Team Tuesdays and take 15% off all regular priced FSU apparel. It's that easy during Team Tuesdays at Garnet and Gold. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
Stop by Garnet and Gold's 3 Tallahassee locations or garnetandgold.com. 2019 Nike Coaches apparel has now arrived. Visit Garnet and Gold's 3 Tallahassee locations or garnetandgold.com.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less. Can you believe it, my brothers and sisters? That's right, it's the 8th annual Libations Friday Fest. It's upon us, and this year we're doing it at a special day and time. Join us on Saturday, August the 24th at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway, beginning at 5 p.m. From 5 to 7, we'll hold our listener appreciation event, replete with giveaways, raffle prizes, and more. Then at 7 p.m., college football kicks off, and so does our Haters Miami, Florida watch party. 21 and up listeners to sign up for your first brew on the house, courtesy of warchant.com. Just head to espntallahassee.com/libations. Do it today. That's right. That's espntallahassee.com/libations. Must be 21 and present a valid ID at the door. The 8th annual Jeff Cameron Show Libations Friday Fest, held on a special Saturday, August the 24th at 5 p.m. Get to the Corner Pocket early. Our free shirts and koozies, well, they'll go fast.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. All-Pro receiver Antonio Brown was at the Raiders facility this morning and in attendance at the team meeting, according to our Adam Schefter. The walkthrough practice was canceled. Brown back for now, though. Raiders GM Mike Mayock said yesterday Brown had left camp again over the helmet issue, said it was time for him to be all in or all out. And Mayock was right to make those comments, says ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
You have a team that's trying to rebuild the calculus of who they are. John Gruden thought Antonio Brown was that piece that he needed to instill the type of mentality he wanted on the football team. It's not on the field. AB's going to ball when he get back. It's the ancillary things. It's the Derek Carr relationship. It's the relationship that the young players, that they want to see what AB does in practice, how he works.
Our Marcus Spears, the agent for Ezekiel Elliott, told ESPN's Chris Mortensen the Cowboys running back was not happy with team owner Jerry Jones' Zeke Who quip after Saturday night's preseason game. Jones then clarified he wanted Elliott to know he was cracking a joke at his expense. Elliott continues his holdout meantime for a new contract. Adam Schefter also reports Broncos receiver Emmanuel Sanders will start on Monday Night Football tonight against the 49ers, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app. It'll be his first game since tearing his Achilles at the December 5th practice. Ohio State coach Ryan Day named Justin Fields the Buckeyes starting quarterback. He transferred to OSU after backing up Jake Fromm at Georgia last season. Oklahoma named Jalen Hurts the Sooners starting quarterback for the season opener against Houston. He's a graduate transfer from Alabama. Defending national champion Clemson, for the first time ever, ranked number 1 in the Associated Press preseason top 25 poll. Alabama is 2, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ohio State finishing out that top 5.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city.
To Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello, welcome in. Happy football. Good to be with you. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Go there to listen live via the streaming. Also, you can find the show if you missed portions of it throughout the day. Go back upon the conclusion and get caught up. We throw it into iTunes and in our archived audio, so catch up, if you will. Email us if you want, jcs@979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's @JCameronShow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. And as always, good to be with you on YouTube and Periscope. Hello. WarChant.com, the website. Just saw him yesterday. Talking to him again here today is a good thing. We're wont to do, and we do it now. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
Good, Jeff. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Good story on Boselli. Let's enlighten those who haven't read the story yet on warchant.com. Tell us a little bit about your conversation with Andrew Boselli and making the most of a second chance, because I have to admit, I was very surprised by his return. I'm even more surprised that he looks good, seems to be playing well, and that Coach Clements seems to be excited about him being part of this group.
Yeah, it really is probably one of the most kind of surprising or interesting stories I think I've covered since I've covered Florida State the last couple decades. I mean, usually if a guy walks away from a team, there's almost no chance he's coming back. And, whether or not he even wants to, usually the coaches or the players won't, be welcoming. And this was a case where I think it was a kind of a perfect situation because he stayed in school. So I'm sure he was still friends with some of the players on the team. And then also, obviously, Florida State's got a huge need on the offensive line. So this wasn't a situation. Maybe they wouldn't be as forgiving if he was a defensive back or a wide receiver. But, he could help them on the offensive line potentially. And so he came back really the hard way. Went to walk-on tryouts and just showed up and did enough in that tryout that Willie Taggart said, yeah, we'll go ahead and give you a chance to come back, but as a walk-on. He was willing to take on that. And, look, I mean, Tony Boselli, his father, made plenty of money in the NFL. So it's not like it's a tough hardship to pay the tuition probably for the Boselli family. But we all know there's a different stature, a different status for players who are on scholarship versus walk-ons. I mean, the gear they get is not as good. They don't necessarily get all the same meals and things like that as the scholarship guys. So he really had to kind of swallow his pride and come back as a walk-on, and nothing guaranteed. But has put on a ton of weight. Has worked really hard, and you can, if you stood there and listened to Randy Clements talk about him yesterday, you could tell that he really likes the kid. He's very intelligent. One thing I thought that was really interesting is he said that Andrew Boselli thinks like a coach, and that's for an offensive lineman in general, but especially a center. That's a big deal. And it's not like when he came back in the spring, it was like, okay, this guy, he's so thin, he's lost so much weight. How could he really hold up? But he's over 300 pounds now. I mean, he's well put together. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he plays this year. And I don't know that it's a slam dunk that he won't be the guy at some point this season.
Wow. And that's interesting because I was also very impressed with a conversation I had with Baveon Johnson as well. It's good to think about the level of competition that could be going on right now at that position, given that, we didn't have any such thing a year ago and really thin, paper thin, and had a guy who had to play hurt half the time. If you're looking for reasons to believe this line could get a lot better, it's that they've been able to create that in some ways, and obviously the addition of Adante Lucas.
Yeah, and I think that the idea that it's not just the same guys rolling out there. And I think that's the thing when you talk to people about this offensive line, and you're starting to see the sentiment change a little bit as time goes by, as more information comes out, as fans really start to kind of dial in and look at what things really look like. But the first impression everybody has is, well, we saw the offensive line last year. There's no way they're going to get much better. Those guys are not going to get much better this year. Well, reality is it's not just going to be those guys. There's several new guys, and then some of the guys who are back should be different players. I mean, Brady Scott is much bigger and stronger than he was a year ago. Plus, he's getting to stay at one position. Juwan Williams, we all talked about over the weekend, obviously a great deal, and over the last couple of weeks, he's not the same guy. He's put on a lot of size. Is much stronger. He's finally healthy. And then, as you mentioned, you got some newcomers, Ryan Roberts at right tackle, and then Dante Lucas, a freshman at right guard, who is battling with a fourth-year guy, Mike Arnold. There's just a lot more competition. There's a lot more options, and the options that are returning seem to be in a much better place than they were a year ago.
Before I ask you my next question, I'll remind everybody out there, time is running out on a special offer from warchant.com. Get a $75 e-gift card to Adidas plus 25% off your subscription. All you have to do is use promo code Adidas. Hurry to warchant.com, save today. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Did you come away from media day, as I did, feeling like this offense is going to have to hold up a little bit for the early games, in obviously Boise State, Virginia come to mind, till the defense can figure out exactly what they are? Did you feel that was the takeaway, given the answers that Harlan Barnett gave and what we saw and heard from Kendall Briles, or did you take away another message?
I mean, I've been feeling that way a little bit lately for the last week or two. Just again, mostly because I just think it's harder on the defensive side to know what you have for some reason. To me, you look at the offense and you say, okay, you've got talent, and I think we all believe that this coaching staff this year with Kendall Briles and Randy Clements and Ron Dugan and the guys that return, that they're going to put guys in positions to succeed. So it feels like if the natural talent is there and you feel like you've got solid quarterbacks, and I think they've got solid quarterbacks, and if you feel like the schemes are good, the offense should work. The defense, to me, is a little bit more difficult to really grasp, because that is mostly the same guys. It is, virtually. You lose Brian Burns, which is a big loss, but most of the guys in the back end are the guys you've seen play before. So now the question becomes, and particularly at linebacker, there'll be a couple new faces. Amari Gaynor is a guy that you'll see more of. But for the most part, those other linebackers, Dontavius Jackson and Jaden Large-Woodby and Jalen Brooks and Emmett Rice, who's been banged up some, but these are all guys we've seen before. So are they going to take a leap? And I think the scheme will help them. I mean, I think the one big takeaway on defense from talking to people, and we knew this, but really just talking to people, it kind of illustrated it, was, the amount of places that they can bring pressure from, the fact that it's not going to be coming from the defensive ends, it's going to be coming from virtually every position on the field that they feel like they can bring pressure whenever they want to. That's something that's intriguing. But again, I think, like to your point, I think we have to see it to know how it actually works.
Can you talk to me? What do you know about? Maybe I'm putting you on the spot because I don't know if any of us know a lot about him. But it was interesting. A couple players mentioned something. I heard whispers leading up to yesterday that Kevon Glenn has come in and really made people kind of pay attention. The 6'2", 235 kid out of Georgia, linebacker. I'm always looking for other names, guys that are bigger than say DeKalen Brooks, guys that could maybe surprise us this year. It's hard to rely on freshmen. We already knew about Jaleel McRae of a very similar build at 235 pounds, 6'2", because of what he did in the spring game. But him and maybe a guy like Tyler Gilroy, talk a little bit about some of these other guys that have been mentioned and that the coaches have been very impressed by that are so young.
Well, I think Kevon Glenn for sure. He's a guy that I didn't know a ton about. Again, if you look at those young linebackers, we saw Jaleel McRae in the spring. Mm-hmm. And then, Kalen DeLoach was a guy that was really highly regarded, not just as a player, but he was kind of one of the leaders of that class, that recruiting class coming in, real big personality kind of guy. And Glenn was a little bit under the radar of that group. But no, when you watch those, when we watch like the Oklahoma drills or Knoll drills or things like that, it was one of the few chances we actually get to see in the practices, the parts of practice we get to watch in the media. That's one of the few times we actually get to see guys go one-on-one physically, because most of what we see is on air. We see the receivers working on air or maybe pass skill, but we don't see a lot of kind of hand-to-hand combat. And Kevon Glenn is one of the guys that really stood out to me early when we got to watch him. He's a guy that could get off blocks and make plays, and he's got that kind of athletic ability. He's also got really good size. So that doesn't surprise me at all that people are talking to him up. And I really think that linebacker position, we every day we go out to practice and we kind of chart who appears to be running with the ones or the twos or the threes. And I really feel like that position, as much as any, is going to really evolve as the season goes on. And I think early, my guess is that they're going to default to older guys, because you're starting off against a quality opponent, Boise State. You're not going to have big mistakes. So I think it's going to be the familiar faces, DeKalen Brooks and Lars Woodby and the guys that we've seen play before. But I think especially in week 2, and then as you get into kind of, they'll pick their spots as the year goes on. I think a lot of those linebackers are going to play, and that's going to be a matter of who's the most productive. And, I think Glenn's he's certainly going to be in the mix.
Any other takeaways? I've given the audience what I think and what I took away from yesterday, and I've played some clips, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. But while I have you here, I always like to pick your brain as well, because we're both there. We're both talking to players and coaches and walking around and getting a feel from other media members and staff at FSU. Anything stand out to you that you thought, oh, that's different, I didn't really know that, or it's about what I thought? Just vibes you get as we get this close to the season now.
Well, probably the couple of biggest things was, one was talking to Levante Taylor, and and I'm not we'll see how it plays out, but just talking to him, he's in such a better place than he was 6 months ago, certainly than he was a year ago. In the spring, I think he agreed to try out the move to safety and some slot corner, but I don't think he really embraced it, and now he really seems to be happy there, and that's a big deal. I think that's him buying in and manning that role and being a playmaker in that role. I mean, he told me, I'm sure he may have told other people as well, in the scrimmage, he said he had like 4 pass breakups and almost Odell Beckham's an interception. And so, he's in a really good place. That to me is just a good sign. And you want to see that for him, because he's put in a lot of time in this program, and I think he's got a lot of ability if they use him right. And then the other thing was just, Kendall Briles, and Randy Clements both, listening to them speak, but Kendall particularly, and I'm thanks for your plug earlier for War Chant. I know you're being compensated for it, but I'll have a story coming up later today. A story later today on War Chant. Kind of 7 things I thought that Kendall Briles said that Florida State fans should really love, and I think that one of them was him talking about the no playbook thing. I thought that was the most illuminating explanation I've heard yet for why they do it, how they do it. So it's one of the things I'm writing about, but just the idea that, kids don't learn on paper anymore. I mean, they do, but they also learn on video. They learn on screens. They learn on devices. And the idea that, because if you think about your kids and the way they learn video games, I don't know if you remember, like when we played Pac-Man as we were kids, they were like magazine or books where you could get the cheat patterns.
Yeah, you get the cheat patterns, buddy. Yeah, I remember the cheat patterns, right.
Well, now what they do, and you know this, your kids do it too. They'll watch YouTube and they'll watch like the good players play, and they learn all the tricks. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that's very different from what they're doing. I think they're watching plays on their iPads or their phones or their laptops, and watching how the plays actually work in real situations, not just on a grease board or not just on paper. They're actually watching these plays and how they're executed, and then they go out and walk through them. And I think it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, I couldn't wrap my mind around the idea of not having a playbook. But when you think about it like that, it's almost like a virtual playbook, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
I do think it makes a lot of sense. I also am reminded of the fact that my musician friends who are older lament how easy it is for kids now to pick up a guitar and just go to YouTube and watch a million lessons as to how to properly play all your favorite songs, as opposed to laboriously reading books upon books upon books, trying to figure out the finger placement. Like, what is this? Then now they just go to YouTube. They're like, oh, there it is.
But think about it, man. Like how much easier is that than looking? Because I'm the worst. Like when I get something in the mail and I've got to put it together with paper.
Oh, forget
I got no
about
shot,
it,
dude. I got to go to YouTube. So it's not just the kids; it works for all of them.
Yeah, so I guess big picture takeaway, and we'll have a chance, the three of us, to kind of sit down and have this conversation. But where's your head at? I was asked yesterday if I had to choose between what's more likely, 6-6 or 9-3, which would I pick? And I don't know. I'm not picking either, by the way. I don't think 9-3 or 6-6 is going to happen. But if I was pushed, I said, well, I'd lean more towards 9-3. And again, I think they're going to go 8-4. But I think that's kind of standard right now. A lot of us following this team, covering this team, feel like 8-4 with this schedule is about right. That's not great, but it's not bad, and it might create a little bit of momentum as you move forward and give you pause to believe that this is about to happen and go in the right direction. What do you think right now as we sit here a couple weeks out?
I'd probably be right with you. I mean, if I had to pick one of those two, I'd say 9-3 is more likely. I don't think it's real likely, but I think it's more likely than 6-6. And again, going back to Kendall Briles, and I'm focusing so much on the offense just because I feel like, again, as soon as I feel like there's going to be more, a better grip on what that is, and those coaches have a better grip on it than necessarily what the defensive coaches will. I don't get the sense that they're over the top with the quarterback. And just listening to, what Kendall was talking about, the part about how, the greatest ability for a quarterback is predictability, and he needs to know exactly what the quarterback's going to do on every play. But then he also mentioned that Blackman kind of plays quarterback a different way, and he's been a little bit loose with the ball. So I don't know. Just the impression I got was that that competition is legit. I do think they are still competing, but I don't know that either one of them is like, okay, this is the guy. Because I think even if Hornibrook, say he makes all the right decisions and say he's comes out of nowhere and actually wins this competition, okay, great. But I can't see him running the zone read. I mean, there's less likelihood of him running it, keeping it to DeAndre, and we knew DeAndre wasn't going to keep it. So to me, that's a big question. It makes me leery about kind of any grand predictions about this team. Is I'm still not sure what they're going to get at quarterback.
Well, and I've said before, and it's interesting because we all like James Blackman. By the way, I think that it's almost overwhelmingly so that James is going to start. I get where you're going. What I would say is the vibe I get is that even if it is James, they're not in love with the talent at the position, and none of us have been. He's a better option for several reasons. He might have been a better option last year for a lot of reasons. But this isn't from a collection of quarterback standpoint and FSU standards. It's nowhere near where it needs to be. You get the sense that everybody's a placeholder until Sims gets here. And
it could. Yeah, no, and sorry to interrupt you, but I see where you're going with that. That's the thing is I think what we always do when there's a situation when there's two quarterbacks or three quarterbacks is just assume there's a perfect answer. And I don't know if there's a perfect answer here.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there is. Well, it's going to be a fascinating season. I do admit that. I mean, I don't think it's a runaway success this year, and I don't think it's last year's train wreck. I think they're going to play. I think they're going to play a lot of close games, Ira.
Well, hey, maybe the tempo will work, and they'll wear them down, and they'll get some cheekies late, and they'll get through those 8 or 9 wins. I'm with you, man. This is to me the most anticipation I probably had for a season in a long time, just because, the last few years under Dimbo, we kind of knew what we were going to get. And last year, I don't know, there was anticipation, but I think this year, we have more to go on than we did a year ago.
Always a pleasure, brother. Be well. Talk to you soon.
See you, Jeff.
Take care. That's IrishFLWarChant.com, the website. I do find this season to be curious. If we were sitting down over a beer, Tom, and I was talking to you about the things that could happen, I'm more apt to concede that this could go terribly wrong again, just as much as I think it could go to where they win 9 games, where I say, because to me, terribly wrong again is if you go 6-6 with this schedule. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, I'm about done with you at that point. I mean, but It's possible. I mean, they're missing some pieces. They don't have an elite quarterback. I don't think they have depth on the defensive line. The offensive line, we'll see how far they can come from last year, but it's still not going to be great. Nobody thinks it's going to be great. Probably not even good. So they got real issues on this team, but many of which good coaching could help overcome.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing in general between either listening to your comments or Ira, the way you're delivering your breakdowns of what is to come with the more information we're getting in camp is, let's just say that the median between most prognosticators in terms of record was like 8.6 wins.
Yeah.
I think it's down to like 8.1. That's what I'm hearing. Is like most everybody's like, oh, okay, all right. 9-3, 10-2 might be a little too pie in the sky. 8-4 sounds a lot more reasonable than it did about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think so. And if you catch a break, you could get to 9 wins. If you don't catch breaks or you have some injury bugs, you could go 7-5 very easily. If you go, again, I'll stick by this. I know not everybody agrees. That's fine. It is the Jeff Cameron Show. I will say, if they go 6-6, no, man, that's it. I'm done. You can't go 6-6 with the schedule.
That has been a consistent talk.
I'm staying with that. No.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
For cooling needs, turn to the experts at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning, 580-4029, and online at baranoac.com.
Hendrick.
It's the Hendrick Summer Sales Event at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Save big on over 200 new Buick and GMC cars, trucks, and SUVs. We are professional grade. DaleJr.BuickGMC.com.
Man, it's definitely summer. And with the heat wave, it's hard to keep my cooling costs down.
Have you checked out the many products and services the City of Tallahassee Utilities offers to help you save energy, water, and money?
What kind of products and services?
Well, the city offers ceiling insulation grants, energy efficiency loans, free energy audits, budget billing, and energy retrofit grants, which can help enhance energy efficiency and lower your bill. And the Weather Relief Assistance Program, or WRAP, is also available right now, which also offers a one-time payment option that lets you defer a portion of your bill until October.
Wow, I had no idea. Where can I find out more?
Simple. Visit talgov.com/YOU.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities connects you to more than electricity. With a variety of options to choose from, you can find products and services that help you save energy, water, and money. More options, more products, more savings. Visit talgov.com/YOU or call 891-4968 to learn more.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Do you live with a 10? And by 10, I mean a First Alert 10-year sealed battery smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. First Alert's 10-year sealed battery smoke and CO alarms provide trusted, reliable protection that lasts for a decade without the hassle of battery replacements and late-night battery chirps. Remember, alarms don't last forever and need to be replaced. Upgrade your home to a 10. First Alert 10-year sealed battery alarms. To learn more, visit firstalert.com/10-year or a Lowe's store today.
Are you looking for a trucking company you can work with till retirement? If so, join the early trucking family that has been trucking for over 25 years. ETC is now hiring regional dry van drivers. Benefits include working with new equipment, a $60,000 average salary, paid time off and sick leave, driving primarily no-touch freight, and running mostly in the Southeast. Plus, a 34-hour restart at home each week. ETC offers a benefit package that's second to none, including 401k, Blue Cross Blue Shield Health, vision and dental insurance, and a $25,000 life insurance policy while employed. Go to earlytruckingcompany.com to fill out an application. Help ETC keep agriculture in motion.
Rich Eisen here for Honda. What better way to go to a Little League game with the whole family than in the Honda Odyssey? This year, Honda celebrates their 23rd anniversary as the official vehicle of the Little League World Series. As we celebrate the anniversary of this sponsorship, Honda wants to recognize the hometown heroes, the moms, dads, and everyone else who makes Little League so special. Check out the Honda Odyssey with available Magic Slide seats, cabin watch, and advanced rear entertainment system to make your family's trip a home run. Available now at your local Honda dealer.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You ever been to a Black Crowes show? You ever been to a Black Crowes show in Atlanta? It's an experience.
Is it now?
Outdoors.
Mm-hmm. I can guess.
Woo! I saw them play this live, and it was incredible, and he sounded great, and they were great, and it was, I could barely see the stage. It was just like...
So whatever color the stage lights turned, that's what.
Yeah,
it was just a haze.
It was impressive too. I mean, these people were dedicated. It was, and and he is too. So and he's smiling ear to ear with his crazy leather pants and button-down shirt. He's like, "All right." They were ready to get it on right from the get-go. I was like, "This is gonna be special. I'm gonna try to remember this one. This is. I don't know if I'm gonna make it with all the secondhand high that's possible here because I wasn't doing anything wrong or illegal, but." If you were part of that group down on the floor, it was a toughie. It was fun though. It was a good show, real good show. Well, you've been to enough shows recently. Where
I have.
Something similar has taken place.
Perhaps one in St. Petersburg. Yes.
With me, yeah, and our kids.
I'll be fascinated to see how what the atmosphere is like when said band plays here.
That one, which we do have tickets for, that will not. I mean, that's indoors in a beautiful amphitheater. There's not going to be people lighting up.
That's what I'm saying. Like but that's a weird feel because that's what they are. They're very much like you're in a scrum at a
they're
Stubbs
fun,
in
right?
Austin or a Janice Landing in St. Petersburg type of band.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Well, I bet they'll be more buttoned up. He'll be like in a suit or something. I like the star sequence. That was the best ever.
It was ridiculous.
It was when he came walking down the steps. It's like yes. Yes.
He looked like Nathan Lane in the birdcage.
Absurd. That's who he is. Speaking of which, hey, let me do this. I wasn't gonna go here, but I will now because I got some questions about this when the AP poll came out. And it's the bottom of the rankings there that have some people a little frustrated because Nebraska, 24th there, right? Is that right? I had to double check that.
Cracked the top 25.
Yeah, Nebraska did.
Okay.
They went 4-8 last year. 4-8. We went 5-7. They have been spoken about very differently than Florida State has. I actually think, Tom, and this is going to anger fans, and I'm always, got my guard up here for those that unfairly lump extra criticism onto Willie for reasons that may be suspect. I tend to pay attention to that. My radar is up, right? But we've also admitted there were legitimate criticisms that anybody could levy, and there's
many.
Many. But I do like to compare and contrast first-year coaches, records, way they're written about. But I've got something to say here. I understand that. I understand why Nebraska's more well thought of than we are. The way that Nebraska ended their season and the way they were playing late in the year suggested they were on the cusp because of their quarterback and because Scott Frost has proven turning things around pretty quickly. They were going to be better. They were going to be better, and I don't think the Big Ten's great. So I would tell you, I kind of get why people have a feeling like Nebraska's on the rise, as opposed to, I'm not so sure with what's going on in Tallahassee. Prove it to me. Not saying it can't happen. Just they were a disorganized mess the last time we saw them. Nebraska nearly knocked off Ohio State.
Yeah.
So we're kind of looking at things like they got better. They were an abysmal mess, Nebraska was. Frost took to the dais to tell everybody, going to get worse. You think this is bad? Getting beat in our own backyard by also-rans? I got it, but we're going to be better by the time the season ends. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And then it happened.
Yeah, whatever you feel about Scott Frost versus Willie Taggart and wherever you come out in that equation, there's no doubt, I think it's objectively true, that he at least seems to have a greater idea of what's going on because he told people it was going to be bad, and he told people it was going to get better, and that's exactly what happened, versus the situation here where we were told it was going to be a retooling, not a rebuild, and that's not what it is. This is a full-on, complete rebuild. Now, it looks like in year 2, Willie's got a handle on things and where it needs to go, and he's empowered the right people to do the right things. But Scott Frost kind of told everybody exactly how last season was going to go, and yet he almost overachieved by going 4-8 in a weird way.
Well, let's remind everybody how this played out because it's worth it. It's why people look at that situation a little differently than they look at ours. Nebraska began the year with a game that got canceled against Akron. It didn't happen. So their first game was against Colorado, and they lost. And Colorado sucked. And they lost it at Nebraska, 33-28. So they lost a heartbreaker. If you remember the ending of that game, it was bizarre. Frost made some mistakes. There was just things about that getting off on the wrong foot, okay? They lose the game. Here's the kicker. They lost the following week to Troy at Nebraska. So back-to-back home losses to start your career in Lincoln, one to Colorado, one to Troy, left people thinking, well, this ain't good. And I believe it was after the next loss that he came in and said, hey, settle down. This is going to get worse. You think that's bad? It's going to get worse, which took some cojones because the next game was against Michigan, and they lost 56-10.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan couldn't score 56 points against Air. At that point, you're 0-3. The one win you would have had got canceled, and then you lose 3 straight games. 2 of them are at home. One's against Troy, and then another one you're not even competitive against a Michigan team that certainly came into the year with high hopes, but didn't end up the year being a very good football team. They then lost to Purdue. They were now 0-4. They then lost to Wisconsin, now 0-5. This was the beginning of a really tough stretch. They lose in overtime to Northwestern, 34-31, before finally beating Row the Boat in Minnesota. They beat the pants off of them, 53-28. Then they beat BCU, 45-9, and then they narrowly lost to Ohio State, 36-31, on the road at Ohio State. They had that game won, choked it away. They then crushed Illinois. They then beat Michigan State, and then they lost by 3 to Iowa. So they win 3 of their final 4. They lose 2 of their final 4 games, but one of them's to Ohio State by 5, and the other one's by 3 to Iowa on a last-second field goal. So they were trending in the right direction. Yeah. That's all. That's why that is.
Well, and if that's a futures poll that you're looking at, too, you've got South Alabama, week 1 for Nebraska. That's in 2 weeks' time. Then they travel to play Colorado, the other half of that home-and-home.
They're going to get their revenge.
Probably. They host Northern Illinois, and then they yes, that's right. They host Northern Illinois, then they travel to Lovie Smith's Illinois.
So they're going to be 4-0.
Correct. Hosting Ohio State on the 28th of September.
All right, well, I'm
An
not
overvalued 8 p.m. kick. Do you see it? I sure do.
I do too, because they'll be 4-0, and they'll look at the game a year ago and say this was so close, and then Ohio State.
And it's the return, and Nebraska fans are going to be going nuts for game day, all that stuff.
You can picture it. You can easily picture it. We're painting a good picture here for that to happen. But anyhow, to answer the question, because this was sent to me on Twitter, thanks, Holly, I appreciate it. And other people have emailed me this, like, well, what in the world? Why is Nebraska getting – they were playing pretty darn well down the stretch, and we were not. And, I think the difference was that Nebraska looked like they had a clue what they were doing there at the end of the season, like Tom said. And then we didn't. We looked worse in our last game than we did in our first game against Virginia Tech. Like, nothing got better. We were able to mask it briefly because of the upset win in the last moments of the game against Boston College, and they didn't have their starter quarterback. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
That was an interesting year that we had last year, yes. And I think it's well, you just lived through it, right? And now you're envisioning this week-by-week coverage of how it went and how we documented it. And, I've got no problem with a national pundit saying they're trash. Florida State's not for real, because the last image you have of that season was at Doak Campbell, Florida destroying us. Us not even looking like a competitive program. I mean,
it was.
We didn't look like a Power 5 team that day. We weren't a Power 5 team last year. And if that's all that people have to work with, and they're comparing it to a Nebraska squad that had a much better October, November, back half of the season, and a group that had its head coach kind of out in front of what was to come each time, yeah, you'd say he's on the case over there. Florida State looked more confused by the end of the year than they did the beginning of the year.
The good news here is that something you can, remind yourself of while you think about those two realities, and that is true. When something's unraveling to the extent that this season unraveled for Florida State a year ago, and it was on the back half of it was on the back end of another unraveling. So you had really just, you talk about a program rudderless at the time. It's kind of what you felt was going on here, and that things must have been way worse in that locker room than we realized. And all of that has since come out to be true. Keep in mind, I think by the time you go into that final game, there's a good chance that Willie has already decided to make a lot of changes. And those coaches that weren't going to be back, I think were also made aware of that situation. I think Walt Bell knew he wasn't coming back after that game. That was going to be it. So now you're going into a game against your rival in which your offensive coordinator is basically actively looking for a job, knows he's not coming back. I don't know if Greg Fry knew, but he couldn't have felt real good about his situation at that point. You certainly knew you were going to make a change at receivers, coach, and special teams. I mean, you got to believe you had a staff that that season, they were done. It was over. That's not to make excuses. But what I would say is...
But they did beat BC the week before.
Kind of. They should have lost the game. But they did win. Tamori and Terry
They played hard, it being the important thing. You're looking for indicators. That's why I thought there was a fighting chance against Florida, but we needed to get out in front.
They did play hard. Well, I'll tell you this. Those that covered Willie's teams down at USF will tell you that one thing that they had in common, the bad ones and the good ones, was they never lost faith in Willie, that he's very good at getting players to buy in and believe. I think that's true of some of the kids on this team a year ago. Tamori and Terry has been bought in, and, of course, he makes the play at the end of the game. I just think this is a much more cohesive unit, much more focused, and I think together – coaching staff along with players. I believe that. I believe that they've got a buy-in from this group that they didn't have a year ago. Maybe we didn't know it last year until it was too late. But when you are listening to the guys talk now and you are listening to the coaches talk now, there's no doubt they're all on the same page. They may not be good enough to win 10 games or something like that. Just buying in doesn't assure you a victory. You got to have players, and we're lacking some at linebacker. We're lacking some in depth on the defensive line, and I'm not real sure certainly the talent is anywhere close to where it needs to be on the offensive line and a quarterback for that matter. They just have to be good enough to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And I think that the big step forward this year is that you look pretty good beating the teams you're supposed to beat. A lot of coin flip games in there, but I think Florida State's more talented than Louisville. That's a team you're supposed to beat. They're more talented than Wake Forest. That's a team you're supposed to beat. You got the 2 gimmies, the one before Florida and then the second week of the season. So those are 2 more wins. That's 4. Those are teams you're supposed to beat rather handily. And then from there, it gets debatable amongst Florida State fans about the teams you're supposed to beat. I think Florida State's more talented than NC State. If you want to say, let's go segment by segment and have that discussion, Jeff, you're right. Their offensive line would be better than ours. Their defensive line's probably got a better matchup against our offensive line, and that's all true. But I think if we took at the totality of the two teams, Florida State's more talented than NC State. They should win that game.
Well, it's here.
That helps.
I know
too.
they beat us 2 years ago here, but it's just that's a big deal. It always has been in this series.
Yeah. There's that. Who else would you say we're supposed to beat? Boston College lost a lot. That BC team lost a lot. We're supposed to beat that team. I'm holding us to the standard that if you have better players than your opponent and you're worth the salt as your coach, then you beat those teams.
Yeah, we're positionless on defense. I know I keep coming back to that. It's just in a lot of places it feels like we're trying some things on the fly. Well,
and that's why early it's going to be important that we move the football. Because I think defensively there's going to be some gaps. I think that as they get it to gel and they figure things out, they're going to make some mistakes. We're not going to be holding these teams down to, fewer than 17 points or anything like that. I mean, I think Boise's going to come out and score. Boise's an interesting case because they had to replace their quarterback. And so I'm sure I don't know enough about Boise's new quarterback to tell you definitively, hey, we have an advantage or a disadvantage here. I don't know if that kid can play or not. I've never seen him play. So there's no way for me to, that's a big deal, not knowing the quarterback. I can pull him up and all that stuff, but I haven't watched him play a season. I think Boise will come in and move the ball. I don't know to what extent, 21 points, 24 points.
Man, if they score between 21 and 24, I feel like there is an 80 to 85% chance we win that game, maybe more.
Good, because I think the offense has to carry the defense early. I agree with you. I think the defense is going to have its moments, but they're going to struggle a little bit. And that goes for the game against Virginia on the road. I think they will. So can you carry us a little bit here early on, Kendall? Randy? Ron? Can you give us a little time to
figure out? Second and 7, man. Second and 7.
Give us a little time to figure out what the hell we're capable of and what we're not. Those first 3 games are going to tell you that. And I think, again, if you can go 2-1.
Yeah.
In any combination, although I think it's pretty important to win this first one. if you can go 2-1, then all right. I'll exhale. Let's start breaking it down, 3 games at a time.
Second and 7. It's very big. It's a very big deal this year.
Well, good news. I suspect the offense is going to be quite a bit better than it was just last season. That's the sense from yesterday, too. I think Randy feels much better about where that line is.
He doesn't seem like he's panicking. OC.
Oh, no, Kendall's great. Isn't he great to sit and listen to?
I think you'd see it. He strikes me as the type of person that if he was worried, his eyes would dart a little bit.
I think he might say it. Like he struck me yesterday.
Yeah.
That was something. We can expound on that further. I mean, I was standing a quarter of an inch from him, and I'm looking dead into his eyes at one point, trying to sense of, what you're saying true?
Are you faking it?
Yeah, I was trying to get a feel. I love reading body language and the Jimbo stuff I used to do when we go to camp and go to those first practices and press conferences.
Text Fan Cave to 66555 and enter to win an ultimate Fan Cave experience from Bud Light, an over $1,500 prize giveaway. Text Fan Cave to 66555 or visit tryeaglesales.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Tri-Eagle Sales.
Hendrick. Get to the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet, a proud partner of the Hendrick Automotive Group. Shop the Hendrick Summer Sales Event all month. Find new roads in a 2019 Chevy Silverado 1500 truck, up to $15,000 off MSRP. Plus, get a 20-quart Orca cooler with the purchase of any new Chevy truck. New management, new buying experience, same Chevy. Come see us on Tennessee Street. Shop DaleJr.Chevy.com. Cooler valued at $199. Not all vehicles will qualify for maximum discount. Must finance with GM Financial plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and dealer admin charge. See dealer for details.
As a market leader, manufacturers offer Kraft Nissan special incentives, deals you definitely can't find on Toyotas or Hondas. When you see stupid low payments on TV, read the fine print. You need tons of money down to get those payments. The Kraft brothers think you're smarter than that, and because of their standing as a volume sales leader, they've got the goods. Just listen to these real-world deals they negotiated with Nissan Corporate. 2019 Rogue, $4,500 off MSRP, plus 0.9% APR. Altima, $5,000 off MSRP. Murano, get this, $6,250 off MSRP, plus 0.9%. Less than 1% is like free money. It gets better. 2019 Rogue Sports, you get 0% APR for 60 months. Now that truly is free money. Titan, $7,500 off MSRP. The kind of deals you come to expect from the Kraft dealerships. Real-life savings, not pie-in-the-sky promises that never come true. And that, my friends, is how Tallahassee will remain a Nissan town.
Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man?
Hello, Eddie. How the heck are you, buddy?
I'm okay. I guess we got to do this commercial.
Time for the bantering to begin.
Yeah, but you know what, Jeff? I want something different now.
You don't want to banter anymore.
I enjoy the banter. I do. But I want theme music, Jeff. Gordo's needs theme music.
Gordo's, the restaurant, the delicious food and the people and the atmosphere. Gordo's, not you personally, but Gordo's.
Yes,
I like
Gordo's, not me. I mean, of course, I would love to have people following me around playing music all the time.
Especially at Gordo's.
It's always in my head. But I need something for Gordo's. I need to have something special, something that, heck, the King of the Hill has his own theme music. The Kids in the Hall. Why not me? Why not Gordo's?
Why not Gordo's? All right, I guess I'm going to be looking for some theme music.
You mean you're going to have Tom looking for some theme music?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep, get on it, Tommy. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
So, listening to Kendall yesterday, a lot of people came away very impressed. I noticed from the boards, I noticed online, I noticed my Twitter feed, I noticed in the email inbox when I came in this morning, and certainly for those of us that were there and holding mics in front of him, I think everybody kind of walked away feeling like Kendall's a head coach in the making. He's going to be hopefully 3-4 years down the line, but he's a guy that carries himself in such a way and that he's very confident. He's got a handle on dealing with the press. Lord knows he's had to deal with it, good and bad, quite a bit for a young career, right? And he's a guy that is thoughtful. He takes the time to answer the question rather than just spit out some cliche in order to move on to the next one and get out of there. One thing I appreciated yesterday is that he thought about what he wanted to say. I could see that. Partly because I think he's careful. I think he's smart enough to know that his answers are going to be perceived in many different ways, and they'll have an impact on his players. They'll have an impact on his offense and an impact on his quarterback. I thought he did a great job of kind of talking about the different quarterbacks without insulting any of them and without necessarily revealing. Obviously, Willie wasn't ready to announce the starting quarterback. We all know it's going to be James Blackman. I'll just tell you that now. It is James Blackman. They haven't said it officially. He hasn't talked about it officially, only that it's a competition. James Blackman is starting for this football team. It's not any of the other guys. Knowing that and knowing that Willie had given an interview several hours earlier to all of us assembled there at the Moore, clearly he had looked at Willie's comments. Either that or listened to them live or watched them, however it was. Kendall came in knowing what Willie said. That's smart. That's important. Know what the head coach said so you don't step across that line. I'm not so sure Walt Bell always knew what the head
I don't
coach
know that
said.
he cared at certain points.
Okay, so there's that. Let's start with that. Secondly, I think he felt good about that scrimmage. It's the first question I asked him, and I think he felt good about the scrimmage. I think he is a perfectionist, so he is not going to tell you that everything is peachy keen. He's gonna say there are things we got to clean up because he has an end goal in mind in terms of tempo, how fast they can play, and what's needed for that to happen is you can't have certain mental errors. You can't have the kind of mistakes that are going to draw a penalty, slow things down, put you behind the chains. But I think all in all, he felt pretty good about where they were. He loves Randy Clements. There's no doubt about that. And he thinks highly of what he's done already with this offensive line. I think from Kendall Briles' comments, reading between the lines yet again here, he feels like Randy Clements may have outdone himself based on what that offensive line looked like a year ago and, taking this job, knowing that's the mountain they got to climb. It's to get that thing to where it's serviceable. I think he feels like they're better than serviceable. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll find out here real soon. But he thinks, I believe, that they're going to be able to do enough to fight to a draw at the line of scrimmage. Not going to dominate anybody, but just fight to a draw at the line of scrimmage.
Which is where the ego kicks in. He says, that's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need from you. Give me a fair chance, and I'll do the rest.
Yeah, and good coordinators feel that way, right? They don't have to have overwhelming advantages. It'd be great if we did, and then that really frees me up to play with all kinds of toys. But for now, just make it so that I can run a play here. Can I establish something, set some things up for later in the game without them getting blown to high hell before I ever have a chance to get into a rhythm?
Yeah, the interesting thing here, and you could see it, I think he's comfortable because he's prepared. It's like what Jimbo would always say about if you're prepared for the test, are you scared?
Right.
You're excited to take it because you know that you know. The interesting thing about his presence is he and Jimbo are very much the same in that when they were here early in their careers, respective careers, what was the word? They were always at the place. They were always at the building, working their butts off. They just go to work. They get lost, and they're just always freaking
Well, there was a
working.
lot of work to do.
Right. But instead of this guy looking haggard and tired and miserable,
he might get his rest.
he gets his rest, but he feels like the offense has more than a fighting chance. It just oozes, right? He's not I don't think he's being false. Excuse me.
Yeah.
As I have to clear my throat. I don't think that's false. I think it's because of the over preparation. I think he looked at the film and he said, "Oh my God, if I don't give this everything I have, then we're not going to go anywhere." But with the upper end talent I have at the skill positions, if I do,
yeah, we can move the ball.
We can really
do
some things.
Yeah, look, again, the schedule doesn't set up to where you're going to be facing teams that can shut that down. You face Clemson, they're going to shut that down. It's a gimmicky offense. I'll just say it. It is. It can be effective. Clearly, I've kind of advanced my opinion of these offenses on the whole. By the way, did we talk about LaMarcus Joyner's comments after that Arizona game? I think I did, right? Where he called Kyler Murray and the Arizona offense gimmicky and that the NFL, there's no place for that. That made me laugh. That's an aside. In college, there's plenty of room for it, Tom. People light up scoreboards running this offense all the time. They have huge success because you don't have elite personnel at every position. College football teams don't. They're not typically equipped. The ones who do get you behind the chains in this offense, and you get in big trouble. But the schedule doesn't have a lot of those guys on it. It's got Clemson. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, and that's where he said, my eyebrows went up the first time he spoke to the media, and he said he looked at the schedule. That was a big deciding factor in coming here.
He was like, okay, that's nice to hear.
because he wants to produce, because he doesn't want his resume to be affected. I think that's where the ego comes in, and that's fine. If you want to use us like that, we'll use you right back.
Yeah, and hopefully, again, it's a 2 or 3 year using for all parties involved. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
$99 or save $40 and put a new spin on your game with Callaway Mac Daddy 4 wedges, now only $109.99. These hot specials and more at the Edwin Watts Golf Shop Sizzling Summer Savings Event. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
O'Reilly. When you purchase your parts at O'ReillyAuto.com, you can pick it up in-store when it's convenient for you. Your parts, tools, or accessories will be waiting at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup. Shop O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
Very soon.
Don't wrestle alligators. You can't reason with them. There are plenty of other things to juggle besides chainsaws. Choose anything else. And when it comes to milk, always trust the smell test. These have been some live-long tips brought to you by the Florida Lottery. With the Week for Life scratch-offs, you can win up to $5,000 every week for the rest of your life. So you just have to live long and win on. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket. Claim it! Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. All-Pro receiver Antonio Brown was at the Raiders facility this morning and in attendance at the team meeting, according to our Adam Schefter. The walkthrough practice was canceled. Brown back for now, though. Raiders GM Mike Mayock said yesterday Brown had left camp again over the helmet issue, said it was time for him to be all in or all out, and Mayock was right to make those comments, says ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
You have a team that's trying to rebuild the calculus of who they are. John Gruden thought Antonio Brown was that piece that he needed to instill the type of mentality he wanted on the football team. It's not on the field. AB's going to ball when he get back. It's the ancillary things. It's the Derek Carr relationship. It's the relationship that the young players, that they want to see what AB does in practice, how he works.
Our Marcus Spears, the agent for Ezekiel Elliott, told ESPN's Chris Mortensen the Cowboys running back was not happy with team owner Jerry Jones' Zeke Who-quip after Saturday night's preseason game. Jones then clarified he wanted Elliott to know he was cracking a joke at his expense. Elliott continues his holdout meantime for a new contract. Adam Schefter also reports Broncos receiver Emmanuel Sanders will start on Monday Night Football tonight against the 49ers, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app. It'll be his first game since tearing his Achilles at the December 5th practice. Ohio State coach Ryan Day named Justin Fields the Buckeyes starting quarterback. He transferred to OSU after backing up Jake Fromm at Georgia last season. Oklahoma named Jalen Hurts the Sooners starting quarterback for the season opener against Houston. He's a graduate transfer from Alabama. Defending national champion Clemson, for the first time ever, ranked number 1 in the Associated Press preseason top 25 poll. Alabama is 2, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ohio State finishing out that top 5.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Welcome football week. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We've arrived. It's going to happen. Woo! More on that in a moment. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. That's always. If you miss anything, we'll post all 3 hours both to our website in the archived audio and, of course, to iTunes. You can find it there, and however you listen to podcasts, rate, review, comment, all that good stuff. It helps others find the show, or so I'm told. You can email us, jcs@979espnradio.com. Appreciate the emails. Keep them coming. Oftentimes, they're fodder for conversation in a segment, so I do appreciate that. And hello, YouTubers. Hello, Periscopers. Hope you are well. AP poll is out, not nearly as fun as the coaches poll, as Tom and I can testify to. We like to talk about the other poll more than the AP poll. Sounds awkward.
It's a lot of poll talk.
That's too much poll talk.
They can't call it a list. Why isn't it just a list?
Clemson tops this list as well. It's not surprising. They did go 15-0 last year and beat the brakes off Alabama to win the national championship, and the best quarterback in the country, or certainly one of the 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country, returns to lead the way. It's a milestone for Clemson. It's the first time the defending champions, in this case Clemson, are number 1 in the Associated Press preseason. The Crimson Tide, and the one you lost was awfully close. You could have won that one as well. And you've spent a lot of time kicking the hell out of other teams in the SEC and kind of owning college football when you think about it. It's not just that they beat Alabama in a national championship, nearly beat them in the one that they lost, but also because they have hammered teams like Ohio State and Texas A&M and LSU and Oklahoma and any number of others. Georgia.
Well, it's the capper, too, what they've done to Alabama that nobody else has ever done before.
Yeah.
The most recent game that was played in college football.
44-16.
An absolute, blowout, and it's with a true freshman quarterback.
Yeah. And you know what's weird about it, too? I think Clemson fans, if they're being honest, would admit this if they've gone back and watched it. Certainly Alabama fans are very well aware of it. That's the strangest 44-16 game you'll ever see. If you're just judging by what you saw physically between the two teams, you'd say that they are perfectly evenly matched. And even Alabama in this game did a lot of things right. They just killed themselves in the red zone, and then you had the pick six, and you had a stupid turnover after that. Tua got thoroughly outplayed, and I think he was an injured Tua, not to make excuses, but basically Tua got thoroughly outplayed by Trevor Lawrence in this game. That's the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, Nick was outcoached. I mean, when do you see a moment like the fake field goal?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, just run a play, dude. The whole world knows it. That stuff doesn't happen to Nick.
Yeah, against the best of the best year in and year out. You can get away with it when you're playing Ole Miss on a Saturday in the fall. You can get away with it when you're playing, the rest of anybody in that sorry-ass East. You can get away with it against some of these lesser teams that just simply physically cannot match up. But where it hurts you eventually is when you get somebody who can look into your eyes, who's peer for peer, player for player, coach for coach, as good as you are. And now continuity means something. And so I think to a certain extent, it's just natural that would happen. But obviously, it's not like Alabama has fallen off a cliff. I'm not trying to make it sound like this team isn't in contention to probably win and compete for another national championship this year, hence the reason they're number 2 in the poll. Georgia, number 3, they've got to get over that hump. They've been knocking on the door, but they've come up short. They went 11-3 a year ago. They've got some big wins, and they look like a team. They passed that supposed eye test, right? I get it. We live in the age of analytics, and we don't like to use the eye test, but the eye test matters in football. Bigger, stronger, faster still plays. When you look at Georgia, they look like the other two to varying degrees. They look like the two teams that are ahead of them in this poll. They look ahead of a team like Oklahoma defensively. And there sits OU at number 4. Ohio State, who today announced Fields would be their quarterback, is number 5. And then it's LSU. And I think really I want to say this about the AP Top 25 in the same way that I do the coaches poll, and that is that once you get past 3, man, that's a jumbled mess. I don't think that Oklahoma's a sure thing there. They're probably closest to it, but I don't know how significantly or appreciably better they are than, say, Ohio State. We'll see. I know that they're transitioning with coaching changes. But LSU, Michigan, Florida, Notre Dame, Texas, Oregon, Texas A&M, Washington, man, throw those names in a hat. The difference between those teams, I don't think is very great, if at all.
Yeah, and here's the question, too, is if one of those teams were to rise up, be good enough to be, one of them has to by definition, but one of them rises up and they go to the playoff, are they of any threat to the other 3, to the big 3?
Yeah, so if Oklahoma, Ohio State, LSU, Michigan, Florida, Notre Dame, Texas, Oregon, I take it as far down as to Texas A&M and Washington at 13 or 12 and 13, are they a threat to either Clemson or Alabama or Georgia?
Or even Georgia. Because I put Clemson and Alabama tier 1, Georgia tier 2. All they need is to believe that they can do it. They have the talent to do it. But then beyond that, I think that the rest of everybody between 4 and 15, you could argue maybe 4 and 18 are a complete tier below those top 3 teams.
Well, without question, because in that second tier, Tom, we start talking about teams like Utah. We start talking about teams like Auburn and Penn State. We start talking about teams like Washington. Listen, those are good football teams, and they may end up being very good football teams. I think Auburn is going to be a weird team. I can't tell if Auburn's going to be really, really, really good or another 5-loss season for Auburn. I'm not sure. But those teams who believes in Michigan at 7? Nobody. Who believes in Florida at 8? Nobody. For that matter, who really believes, and this might be unfair to that program, who really believes Notre Dame is a consensus, I believe in you, top 10, could scare a playoff? We just don't believe in Notre Dame. And it's unfair because they got blown out, but they didn't get blown out any worse than Alabama did by Clemson. As it turns out, they're just another one in the path, the steamrolling path of the Clemson Tigers. I know our reaction when it first happened was, can we stop inviting Notre Dame to these playoffs? Can we stop? We do that. At the same time, we praise them for navigating their schedule every year, which is really difficult most years. But we never feel like they're a tier 1 team.
Well, that game was over in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They just played out the string the rest of the day.
I'm just saying, they got blown out, and we went, they're not competitive with these teams. Mm-hmm. And then Alabama got blown out.
Well, the problem is that, it was Alabama and everybody else for how long, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd say, all right, will Alabama trip up and lose in the SEC title game, in the Iron Bowl, whatever it is. And they hardly ever did. And then Clemson rises, and you think, well, it's a cute little story. And then they actually beat Alabama after Nick pulls off the one in Arizona. Unbelievable. That was the onside kick call.
Onside kick call, yeah.
He saved that title game by himself.
Yes, he did.
But we thought, wow, they got so close. I don't know that Clemson's going to be able to climb the mountain again because they always have the Clemsoning moments. And they did, but they still found a way to get to the title game and win it on basically the last play. It went from being cute to being like the most serious deal in college football within 2 years because they brought in another top-level quarterback. And to me, that's the thing. And when you're looking for separation value between Clemson, Alabama, and the rest of it, it's that they found another generational guy. And they got it right on the heels of having a generational player, save for a little Kelly Bryant stint in between.
And he wasn't terrible. He's a good college quarterback is what Kelly Bryant was.
Yeah.
He just wasn't this kind of transcendent NFL to be first pick kind of guy. You're right. I mean, after Deshaun, you figure they're not going to do this again, and yet they bring in a guy who I think is more polished to be an NFL quarterback. Now, he's not the athlete, but I think he's certainly a good enough athlete, and he's big, strong, going to throw the ball exceptionally well, anticipatory. But also, let's not forget, there's a T. Higgins there. There's a Justin Ross there. There's a Travis Etienne there. They're loaded on offense.
They are, but just think about it. In the playoff appearance, it was Clemson, Alabama, round 3. Kelly Bryant was the quarterback, and Clemson could have played how many quarters before they scored 20 points in that game?
Yeah.
I mean, it was absurd. And yet there they are, the number 2 program in the country at that point. And now they get another kid, like the one that you wait 20, 25 years for. They got a second one of them, and that puts them ahead of the class. They're ahead of Alabama, and I don't think it's all that close right now because of what they have top to bottom on offense. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think a healthy Tua, who we saw a year ago throwing to Jerry Jeudy, is going to be a highlight reel every week, and they always are stocked with 3 and 4 running backs that you go, well, that's different. You know, I'm big, strong, downhill. So I'm not going to weep for Alabama. Right now, the way it sets up is they're going to play again. This is the way it sets up. And you have to hope that something's amiss, that maybe Alabama's time at the top, they've worn, the attrition that I speak of within the coaching staff, maybe that's wearing, maybe the message is growing stale, perhaps, but they're loaded with talent. So if they play to their ability, they're going to win most of their games. They'll be in the playoff. Clemson, there is something to reaching the top of the mountain, not once but twice in this case. The problem is, and then eventually finding a letdown because it's hard to sustain that. I mean, it's really hard to sustain that. The problem is the uniqueness of that Clemson program, which all makes us want to gag, is a reality. It's not something that they're just promoting. It's very real, player to player, season to season, fan to fan, coach to coach. The way that they fostered this togetherness, this belief, this family thing that what Willie's trying to do here probably nauseates most fan bases because it's cliche central. It's the stuff that you hear all the time, even when it's not true. And so you're like, you roll your eyes, I've heard this before. The problem is Clemson's kind of proven it is. Their guys stay when they don't have to. Their coaches never leave.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they get a head coaching job. And even, Brent Venables could be a head coach tomorrow and he's choosing to stay. That's real.
That's why I think it's not close, because if you think about how much Clemson's had to do in the last 6-7 years to climb to where they are, I mean, it's absurd the amount of improvement. And when you think about coaching continuity, you're talking about Alabama. At some point, right? They get poached every single year. At some point.
All the time, yeah.
That's going to rear its head. Well, for Clemson, it's continuity central. After Morris is gone, it's pretty much the same guys, year in and year out.
That drives me nuts.
And a mutual friend of ours told me a story recently about a trip up to Clemson and seeing Brent Venables outside the facility and asking Venables, "Are you ever going to, leave?
You ever going to leave?"
And he said, the one thing I figured out spending more time with Dabo over the years at some of these other circuits is how much glad handing you have to do and how much time that takes away from the focus at hand. So the short answer was no. He doesn't want those responsibilities. Brent is fine just going to work every day.
Well, and it's also because he is paid exceptionally well. When you're a multimillionaire in your position and you're not quite paid like a head coach, but close, and you're at a place where you can legitimately compete for a national championship every year, where are you going? Okay, so somebody's going to throw $2 to $3 million a year more at you, but where are you going? Well, you're going to a program that has sucked because that's why their head coaching position is open. You're going to go to start a rebuild. You're going to be a first-time head coach, and you're going to do all that glad-handing, and you're going to leave a place where you're really happy? That's the underrated thing about this. At some point, we always talk about diminishing returns. At some point, we do it sensibly when we talk about players who, for whatever reason, so you're playing for the Eagles, and you're a top-flight running back, receiver, whatever. And your contract's up. You're in a position to be able to negotiate, and the Eagles need to match some money that's being thrown around out there, right? And they offer $9 million, and the Jets offer 9.5. The guy that chooses the Jets for 9.5 rather than staying with Philly doesn't get it. Because if you're happy and you can compete and win championships, that $500,000 is nothing in that situation. You got more money than you're ever going to spend, especially if we extrapolate that out and we end up doing 5- and 6-year deals, and let's say 30 of it's guaranteed, something like that. Yeah. What are we doing? Now, far be it from me to tell somebody to do with their money. If you're offered $10 million as opposed to $4 million, well, take your $10 million. I got you. That is a very big difference. But some of these guys, I appreciate the guys that get it.
Well, the sense is from up there, again, the same story. Brent got into his car, and it's an old truck. It's kind of like Jimbo. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
That's how he got there, is because he really doesn't care about that money. But what he does care about is his own peace of mind and sanity.
Yeah.
Now, he may be insane on the practice field and on game day, as
but
we
he's
see.
happy. He's clearly happy.
But he's happy because he's not beholden to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who wants to walk into his office and says, all right, dance on the rug for me there, pal.
Thanks,
there you
Jimbo.
go.
Let's go tap.
Exactly.
Yeah, put those boots on.
Put the boots on. He doesn't want to put the boots on.
No, he doesn't have to. He's wearing the boots, but he doesn't have to.
And so that when you combine that dude game planning every single week, along with Trevor Lawrence, Jesus, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Well, and listen, when you talk to Clemson alumni, they can't talk highly enough about Dabo and the stuff that they do off the field. That part of it's great. And what we want to see is Willie make it to the point where he can do those things too, because it's a similar guy. That's why he went and talked to Dabo. I mean, he admires the person that he is because he cares about the kids. The whole experiment here is that you can win another way. You don't have to win the way that Nick Saban wins. You don't have to, and I'm not saying that he's nefarious. I'm saying he's robotic, and there's a certain element to what he does that lacks feeling and affection. It's almost personalityless, right? It's difficult to rub up against and feel warmth by. Jimbo wants to win that way. That's how he learned from him. That's how they're going to win. Okay, you can. Clearly. Look at all the people that have because of it. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's one approach. And if it works for you, do it. But there's another way to win. And I'd prefer Dabo's way to win, and that's Willie's way too. I think very similar, right? But you have to survive. Dabo had to survive. He had to make it to that next year. He got lucky. He was this close from being fired. Then it happened for him. Willie's got to survive. That's what we've been talking about this entire summer. You got to survive. This year has to be the catalyst for you to have a third and a fourth and a fifth year.
That's the thing that makes me chuckle is in conversational, a little watering hole discussion, right? And you bring up Dabo's start. And it's this ridiculous circular argument because, well, Willie's no Dabo. Wait a minute. Have we forgotten
we used to laugh at Dabo. The whole country did.
That we couldn't believe he was still employed by Clemson?
Bring your own guts was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. Remember all that stuff. Yeah. He was a goofball. Now it's endearing. Now it's clearly something players love about him, that he's one of them, that he's in the locker room dancing like a clown. And our coach just danced last year after the BC game. And, oh, by the way, I loved it. I did. I found myself smiling. I still do.
The whistle dance.
The whistle dance is the best. I hope we see 9 of those this year, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, but there's another way, and that's a good way. It's a different way, and I'd like to see it play out here. But, of course, you got to win in order for that to happen.
I like 29 in a row because I went through the lost decade, and that was lovely, and it got us out to California, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I said this last year, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm still clicking the pens, even after Media Day, which was really good for them yesterday. But if he were to win at the highest level, Willie, it's going to have so much more of a personal touch.
Yeah.
Than it did with Jimbo.
Without question. And it's also because he has great reverence for the program. He believes in the program being bigger than him, and he believes in, and certainly it's part of his childhood. I mean, growing up watching games and rooting does that to you.
But I'd put that right now, and this is where I think we all are. 20%, 30% chance that we do that at best.
Well, we're not going to do it this year.
No, of course not this year. I just mean in terms of him being the guy. It's like, all right.
Well, I'm sure Clemson fans felt that way about Dabo.
They felt a 4% chance.
Yeah.
At one point.
You always do until something changes. Something significantly changes. This has to be a step towards that. Doesn't have to be in completion. It just has to be a step towards that. In fact, I want to talk about that more when we come back. Got a little audio for you from Media Day, aforementioned. Was a good time over there. I talked with a ton of people, a ton of players, a ton of coaches. Got the vibe for where we're headed with this season, and it's an interesting one. We're not going to be a juggernaut by any means. There are weaknesses on this team, I think almost accounted accounted for in the commentary from coaches and players, and yet there is a belief in each other and where they're going and what's possible. And I think some of this is about survival with these first 3 weeks. It really is. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hendrick.
It's the Hendrick Summer Sales Event at the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC, a proud partner of the Hendrick Automotive Group. 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 trucks up to $50,000 off MSRP. Plus, get a 20-quart Orca cooler when you buy any new GMC truck. We are professional grade on Capitol Circle Northeast under the giant American flag, or shop DaleJuniorGMC.com. Cooler valued at $199. Not all vehicles will qualify for maximum discount. Must finance with GM Financial plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and dealer admin charge. See dealer for details.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
People always appreciate it when you deliver on a promise and go the extra mile. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, our team would treat you like you would want to be treated. Zero interest financing and low monthly payments are available when you're approved for the Carrier credit card. Apply at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
They say you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so here at Charmin, we decided to sing about it.
Super Mega Rolls. 6 rolls in one. Got rolls on rolls on rolls. TP for everyone. Charmin rolls got rolls. Super Mega Rolls. Super Mega lasts forever. Charmin rolls got rolls.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in one. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
6 rolls in one.
Man, it's definitely summer. And with the heat wave, it's hard to keep my cooling costs down.
Have you checked out the many products and services the City of Tallahassee Utilities offers to help you save energy, water, and money?
What kind of products and services?
Well, the city offers ceiling insulation grants, energy efficiency loans, free energy audits, budget billing, and energy retrofit grants, which can help enhance energy efficiency and lower your bill. And the Weather Relief Assistance Program, or WRAP, is also available right now, which also offers a one-time payment option that lets you defer a portion of your bill until October.
Wow, I had no idea. Where can I find out more?
Simple. Visit talgov.com/YOU.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities connects you to more than electricity. With a variety of options to choose from, you can find products and services that help you save energy, water, and money. More options, more products, more savings. Visit talgov.com/YOU or call 891-4968 to learn more.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Good Monday, everybody. Good football week, everybody. So there was a lot of audio. By now you've gone and checked it out on YouTube, or you've gone to War Chant, or you've heard some of the show today in which we played it. Active, fun time yesterday. I thought FSU did a good job with Media Day. And, you know, the access to the players and coaches was exceptional, so no complaints there. You know, Tom, I want to play a clip, if you would. We'll play this, but you can tell by my apprehension here. I don't know if I read too much. You'll hear my voice here. Ask Coach Barnett about the transition from what we ran our base in a year ago to the 3-4 and to this effort to have multiple fronts this year. But I'll preface it now. Maybe I shouldn't, because maybe I'm gonna taint the way you hear it. But your hunch, you had a hunch from what you were listening to, I don't know, it was about a month ago, middle of the summer, that here we are talking so much about the offensive line. Here we are talking so much about how well this offense can run when you get a little bit of blocking and the skill position players we have. And, now that James Blackman is under center as a guy that the players can trust and believe in, every day something comes up about Kendall Briles, about Randy Clements, about Ron Dugans, about the offense as a whole, and yet there was a shifting concern that maybe the personnel isn't where it needs to be defensively. And some of this coincided with this transition, with this effort to switch how we play defense. And it revolves around personnel. Here's Harlan Barnett talking about that amongst a few other things here. Just a little 2 minutes. We talked for a while, but I just want to play these minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever it is, and then we'll comment on it in a moment. All right, Coach, talk about the transition to the 3-4 and multiple fronts, I guess.
There you go, multiple fronts. It's been really good. Our guys are enjoying it. We think it, make the offense have to be off balance a little bit, so still being able to be a multiple front. They got to work on a lot of different things, our opponents I'm talking about. So our guys are enjoying it. They're doing a really good job at it.
From a pass rush standpoint, is it producing the results you guys hoped?
Based on what we're doing, yes, and how you generate that pass rush. So obviously the first thing is to stop the run, and then you're going to get after the quarterback as well, like you just said. And the guys are doing a really good job. They're transitioning well in everything that we ask them to do.
Are you guys in a better position personnel-wise to do more fronts than maybe you were last year?
Yes, I would agree with that, absolutely. Personnel-wise, we are able to do that. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it, because of the personnel that we do have.
How impressed have you been? I mean, you brought in a pretty big freshman DB class. How impressed have you been with all of them?
Very. Those guys are as advertised. They're good football players, very, very good football players, and doing a good job, and has created a competition in our room that's making everybody take their game to another level. So very impressed.
Looking at the big picture, last year to now, what's the biggest difference?
One, have more defensive backs. Being a defensive back coach, we have more, and they're really good football players. The best defensive back class that I've ever been a part of as a coach that just came in this year. And so that's how impressive those guys are, along with the guys we already had. So, again, having that depth in that room really helps out.
Translation, hang in there with me. The young guys are our future. They're really good. They're changing and raising the floor. We've got a chance, if we can get through this year, to be a pretty damn good defense, especially with the verbals we already have at linebacker and the defensive line, and we've got more on the way, right? You've got a 5-star who's now whittled down Florida State into his top 6. And, okay, got it. But I don't think that sounded like a guy who was real sure they were going to go out and beat ass this year, right? I don't know that he feels this defense is going to be great. And he can't say that. I think he's a little concerned about the experiment. Now, that's me reading into body language, tenor of voice. I didn't feel like you saw a guy who couldn't wait to unleash the hounds. I think you have a guy who feels like we've got more talent on the back end than we've had, and I'm happy about that because these guys have come in and pushed them and make them better, and they're going to play and play a lot, and they're going to be good. We got some guys up front I feel good about, but not enough of them, and I'm not real sure how we're going to do with, at this point, Kando and Janarius Robinson in the other role.
Yeah, what I heard there was I forget who asked the question. It was either Chris Nee or Gene Williams, but about getting the pass rush. And he said based upon what we're doing, based upon
shutting down the run is what they're trying to do. They're going to commit to that, and then they have to hope that it's third and advantage defense, third and long, and they can generate a pass rush. But I don't know where it's coming from.
What I heard was no, but we're blitzing well and effectively. That's what I heard.
That would be the Amari Gainer element of this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's no. I think it's that there's nothing more emasculating and devastating for a defense than to be run on. I think he went into this offseason going, I'm not getting run on like that again. We got run on, and it was humiliating. That NC State game was ridiculous. I mean, that came. Mm-hmm. I texted you that day. I'm like, he's got a problem because they did that on his scheme. He never really could adjust. Some of it was personnel. I mean, DeKellen Brooks can't be out there in that situation.
Oh, Marvin Wilson didn't start.
Which is weird. But
whole first drive.
Yeah, it's crazy. But what I think, if I'm looking into it from a defensive coordinator's perspective, you can't have people line up and run the ball because they're dictating terms in a way now you can't compete. Now they're free to do anything. You got to shut that down and make them predictable. So if you can get into 3rd and 5 or more, maybe you don't have explosive talent to rush the passer. Maybe you don't have the best ends in the world to get after the passer on 3rd and obvious. But at least they're predictable at that point, and you've taken away something that they want to do. That's more than you can say for the defense a year ago, which took away nothing.
Yeah, I think the hard part here is defensive line depth. That's a preseason question. I'm not saying they're as thin as the offensive line, but they're close. They're close because your best 3 are out there, and then there are some names that we haven't seen produce on Saturdays yet. And maybe those are answers. Once upon a time, not too long ago, Corey Durden came out of nowhere.
Right.
By week 3 or week 4, he's a nice player.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Jones was that way. When he emerged, you said, wow, 55 could play a little bit of football here. So maybe we do find some of those answers. But then the second thing to me is your second interior linebacker. How good is Woodby coming up and tackling, stopping the run? I mean, he's got the height. The weight's not ridiculously low.
Right.
But how's his form? Can he come up? Can he stop the run if it's 3rd and 2 and he has to be the one to make the play? Can he do it?
One side note here to mention, they're very impressed with a couple of guys that we didn't talk about at all coming into camp. Again, it's the younger class. You keep hearing it from these guys, like, hang in there with us. We've got the cavalry's on the way. And Kevon Glenn's a guy who's, a freshman, 6'2", 236 pounds, apparently has turned heads in camp, has really looked good. You couple it with at least the flash we saw in the spring from Jaleel McRae. You got some bigger bodies now. You don't like freshmen to have to play so quickly, but it could happen.
But both of those guys are about the same size.
Yeah.
Same height, weight.
Yeah.
Over 230, which is, if you're going to have a 4 linebacker look, you better have some thumpers. And we know Dontavius will be one of them this year.
Right, and so it's interesting. Two freshmen may have to play that role. They may be capable, but they'll make mistakes by definition. They're freshmen. And then the other part of that is you need to be more explosive, and maybe Armara Gaynor is the answer there. So Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. When we come back, talked to Baveon Johnson yesterday, and I think you'll enjoy this conversation.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
A comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Share Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
Very soon.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hendrick.
We're celebrating the Hendrick Summer Sales Event all month long at the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet. Shop over 300 new Chevrolet cars, trucks, and SUVs right here on Tennessee Street, or find new roads at dalejrchevy.com.
Tallahassee, are you looking for a responsible way to get to the season opener on August 31st? The Tallahassee Brew Bus is your answer. The Tallahassee Brew Bus is offering a first-class day trip service to Jacksonville for the opener against the Broncos. You'll enjoy local craft beer deliciousness from Deep Brewery on the ride out and the ride home, a catered lunch from Metro Deli, and more. The cost is only $75, a fraction of what a hotel would run you. So put your mind at ease and book a seat on the Tallahassee Brew Bus for an August 31st trip over to Jacksonville. For more information, visit Facebook.com/Tallahassee Brew Bus. And hurry, there are under 10 seats remaining.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. All-Pro receiver Antonio Brown was at the Raiders facility this morning and in attendance at the team meeting, according to our Adam Schefter. The walkthrough practice was canceled. Brown back for now, though. Raiders GM Mike Mayock said yesterday Brown had left camp again over the helmet issue, said it was time for him to be all in or all out. And Mayock was right to make those comments, says ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
You have a team that's trying to rebuild the calculus of who they are. John Gruden thought Antonio Brown was that piece that he needed to instill the type of mentality he wanted on the football team. It's not on the field. AB's going to ball when he get back. It's the ancillary things. It's the Derek Carr relationship. It's the relationship that the young players, that they want to see what AB does in practice, how he works.
Our Marcus Spears, the agent for Ezekiel Elliott, told ESPN's Chris Mortensen the Cowboys running back was not happy with team owner Jerry Jones' Zeke Who quip after Saturday night's preseason game. Jones then clarified he wanted Elliott to know he was cracking a joke at his expense. Elliott continues his holdout meantime for a new contract. Adam Schefter also reports Broncos receiver Emmanuel Sanders will start on Monday Night Football tonight against the 49ers, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app. It'll be his first game since tearing his Achilles at the December 5th practice. Ohio State coach Ryan Day named Justin Fields the Buckeyes' starting quarterback. He transferred to OSU after backing up Jake Fromm at Georgia last season. Oklahoma named Jalen Hurts the Sooners' starting quarterback for the season opener against Houston. He's a graduate transfer from Alabama. Defending national champion Clemson, for the first time ever, ranked number 1 in the Associated Press preseason top 25 poll. Alabama is 2, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ohio State finishing out that top 5.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Camp and who hasn't, and which guys have maybe surprised them and come on strong in a way that is going to allow them to play sooner than maybe coaches thought. And you're trying to read between the lines. You're certainly trying to get a sense, because coaches are very guarded, very careful. And some of the players obviously have had talking points presented to them, and they understand that as well. And so you're trying to get them to break them out of the cliche and get them to just have a conversation with you. And, you know, I've heard this camp has been a good one for Baveon Johnson. And if you juxtapose that to a year ago where the guy could not snap the ball, he had a terrible camp, could not snap the ball to save his life. It got in his head. He really, I think at that point, the season was just about down the tubes for him, and it affected his mood. It affected his ability to commit, I think, and really become the player that everybody is hoping he can be. And if we're looking for a miracle on the offensive line, you got a couple of candidates here. For starters, Juwan Williams is a guy that now has said he's healthy and confident and feels much better in his own skin. And potentially, when you consider that skin is spread across a wide girth, this is a big man. It's a big, strong man. If he is able to utilize that skill set and do something that they saw only in practice a year ago, because when the lights came on, as the season went on, the worse it got for him, to a point where he was so domed that he really couldn't effectively block even the least effective pass rushers in the league. And so who knows, right? Maybe he's reborn. Maybe he has responded in a way to Clements that he didn't to Fry. Who knows? But I do know this. Another candidate on that list is Baveon Johnson. There's a confidence about him, an assuredness about him that is very different from a year ago. He's in better shape. I know that. And I would also note that his teammates, and this is where it's interesting because those guys certainly aren't going to say it if it's not happening. They don't tend to mention players that aren't making an impact. They just won't bring it up. But I had several players, some linemen, others on the defensive side of the ball, talk about Baveon Johnson, talk about him being kind of a camp leader, kind of being the leader of that group, taking it upon himself to practice better, to create better habits, to play with more focus and intensity. And so when I got a chance yesterday to talk to him, one of my goals there was to figure out, how do I introduce that question without saying, you were terrible a year ago, a bitter disappointment. We've been waiting on you since you were recruited with all those stars next to your name, and all you've done is suck and pout. Of course, I'm not going to say that, but I don't even want to infer that I'm thinking it or that everybody's thinking it. And those linemen, they know that whenever the greater discussion about Florida State's disappointing 2018 season comes up, the first place the conversation centers, if you're not starting with coaching, the very first place on the field we go is to talk about that offensive line and just how terrible that offensive line was. And so I wanted to somehow kind of bring that up, incorporate that, but also find out what it was, what was the spark, what happened. Is it just that Clements came in, has changed the approach? Is it that he recognized that he was part of the problem, meaning Baveon was one of many guys that they were expecting something from a year ago that it didn't pan out? Anyhow, so this is my conversation with Baveon Johnson yesterday. Sorry for the outside noise. I mean, obviously it's a crowded room. There are a lot of people. Everybody's trying to get interviews and get their questions in. But this is from yesterday's Fan Day, me and Baveon Johnson. What clicked for you from last year to this year? I know we want to spin it forward, but when I hear other linemen talk about you as a leader of the position, and I hear them reference your leadership on a daily basis, it's like they're describing a guy that has certainly had something click between that time and this time. What's been the biggest difference for you?
The biggest difference for me is I understand that last year around this time I felt like I was going into competition with Alec Eberle the previous years, but last year I honestly, Greg Fry had to tell me that I wasn't as good as I was, and that stuck with me. Ever since that, I was like, I'm not as good as I am. Well, I was, So I had to start back from the small things, footwork. Oh, I got footwork down. Let me get my strength. Got my strength down. Let me get my hands. And, it took him to tell me that in my face to me to get clicked. And it was like, we're not. This team ain't as good as it wants to be. We're not as good as we think we are. And I wasn't as good as I think I was. So it just took that. And that was one of my low points. I ain't gonna lie, but it took that to whip me back into place, and I'm glad it happened.
So Greg lights a fire. Now we fast forward to Randy. He's very technical from what I've seen out of practice. Talk about his coaching style. What's that like on a day-to-day basis for you?
His coaching style is amazing. He's not finna harp if you keep doing something wrong. He's not finna harp and do this, do that. If you ain't doing it, he's gonna tell you to get out, and that's what we need. We need nobody is guaranteed to any position. Nobody has a starting position yet on this team, and that's how it is. If you're not doing what you need to do, get out. So and that brought some people into focus and let me get on my stuff. That really helped. And he got his own blocking techniques and routine and all this. We do the same thing. Every single practice an individual. He got his way, and his way is working.
As a leader of this group, certainly not lost on you, I'm sure, about the criticism of the offensive line for last year's season. Most criticism for last year's season almost starts with the offensive line. People bring it up almost instantly when they discuss last year's season. I know you don't want to talk about last year, but that's certainly got to serve as great motivation for that entire youth.
That's fuel. I said this multiple times. We was the worst offensive line in the country last year. Right now, we're still the worst offensive line in the country. For right now, until we prove otherwise on the field, in front of all y'all, all the fans, until we prove ourselves otherwise, we're still the worst O-line in the country. And I make sure my boys know that. We not guaranteed, nothing is finna be given to us. We got to go out there and work.
I mean, that's refreshing. I like the candid response and the willingness to accept responsibility and the idea that he needed to be told. You know, we've been searching for something that Greg Fry did right while he was here at Florida State. There you go, everybody. I was able to mine the depths and find it. Before he left, he told Baveon Johnson, "You're nonsense, son. You're not nearly as good as you think you are. You got a lot of work to do. You got changes to make in your life. You better get focused. Your technique is garbage. You're not strong enough. Get your hands working, son. Your feet are abysmal." And he took it to heart, and I loved the response. I thought he was great there, and he seemed excited about the opportunity. And I'm this is going to be an imperfect team. One thing, again, I kind of spent some time letting the conversations that we had yesterday with players and coaches resonate with me and on the drive back to my house after I left the Moore Athletic Center. And some of the things that I heard and some of the things where you, once again, kind of read between the lines, you go, so-and-so's going to have a real good year. You know, I think that looks like Cam Akers had a better camp than I thought. There were a lot of people talking about him reasserting himself as the man. We've had so much conversation about Colin Laybourne. I kind of thought maybe he's surpassed Cam Akers. If you listen to Briles, and we played him earlier, and if you listen to some of the players, as I did yesterday, no, Cam's the guy. And he's back focused, committed, and healthy, and that's good to hear. And on the other hand, I'm not sure the conversations that I heard on the defensive side of the ball left me totally sold on how this 3-4 is going to look and play. More importantly, play. Obviously, I don't care how it looks. I know what a 3-4 looks like. But how they're going to execute. And in particular, how good are they going to be against teams that can really line up and run the football. But we'll come back, wrap it up, get to some probables. It's football week. It feels that way, too. It's glorious. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
To 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Hendrick.
It's the Hendrick Summer Sales Event at the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC, a proud partner of the Hendrick Automotive Group. 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 trucks up to $50,000 off MSRP. Plus, get a 20-quart Orca cooler when you buy any new GMC truck. We are professional grade on Capitol Circle Northeast under the giant American flag. Or shop DaleJr.GMC.com. Cooler valued at $199. Not all vehicles will qualify for maximum discount. Must finance with GM Financial plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and dealer admin charge. See dealer for details.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one Aurora wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on Thursdaysincollegetown.com. Can you believe it, my brothers and sisters? That's right, it's the 8th annual Libations Friday Fest. It's upon us, and this year we're doing it at a special day and time. Join us on Saturday, August the 24th at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway, beginning at 5 p.m. From 5 to 7, we'll hold our listener appreciation event, replete with giveaways, raffle prizes, and more. Then at 7 p.m., college football kicks off, and so does our Haters Miami, Florida watch party. 21 and up listeners to sign up for your first brew on the house, courtesy of warchant.com. Just head to espntallahassee.com/libations. Do it today. That's right. That's espntallahassee.com/libations. Must be 21 and present a valid ID at the door. The 8th annual Jeff Cameron Show Libations Friday Fest, held on a special Saturday, August the 24th at 5 p.m. Get to the Corner Pocket early. Our free shirts and koozies, well, they'll go fast.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It's time for...
Yeah, you guessed it. We got to rapid fire this thing. Hope you enjoyed the audio. There's plenty of it. We've got more throughout the week. But also a reminder, Libations Friday Fest, Listener Appreciation Party this Saturday, 5 to 7, leading up to the big game, the start of college football, Florida and Miami. Come join us at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. I mentioned it throughout the show today. I will all week long. We want to see as many of you as possible so that we can, pal about, have a cold one, talk about the upcoming season.
You can have
Thank you.
Cold one for free, espntallahassee.com/libations. Put in your information. Got to make sure it's accurate and honest, though, because we will be asking for your IDs at the table.
There you go. Nationals, Pirates, Joe Ross, Trevor Williams. Can this season please end? My Buccos need to be put out of their misery. Royals, Orioles, Jorge Lopez, John Means, Padres, Reds, Eric Lauer, Trevor Bauer, Mariners, Rays, Marco Gonzalez, Brendan McKay, Brewers, Cardinals, Zach Davies, Dakota Hudson, Angels, Rangers, Dylan Peters, Colby Allard. Dylan Peters is an unfortunate name. Tigers, Astros, Edwin Jackson, Wade Miley, White Sox, Twins, Yvonne Nova, Kyle Gibson, and to conclude the night, Rockies, D-backs, Chi Gonzalez. All right,
oh, wow.
Chi. And Zach Gallen will go for the D-backs. Couple of notes here real quick. You're welcome. I won you money again over the weekend, everybody. When you listen to Big Daddy J, good things happen. The Ravens victorious yet again.
So, did you light up your victory cigar?
From Jerry's!
That's right.
Jerry's Cigars! Sponsors of Probables.
Wow, with two amazing locations, 2810 Share Road, 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Sounds like I've been smoking 50 of them. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
You don't sound that bad, buddy. Hang in there. You'll be well by the end of the week, and we'll all be celebrating because not only will you be healthy, but football will be upon us.
Oh, yes.
Good times. It's finally here. I'm so damn excited. I really am genuinely giddy. You don't have to describe your feelings in a given day as being giddy, but I'm giddy. I woke up giddy. I got up this morning, I'm like, all right, kids, I was cooking eggs, and I was like, here we go. Let's get the week started. This is going to be a good one. Football begins. Bryce just looking at me. They're like, Dad, please, just get with the eggs.
Dad, it's 6:15.
Get with the eggs.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Put your clothes on, kids. Get your backpacks. Let's go. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Thanks to all of you for listening. What do we got now? We got the Braves next? What do we got?
Braves have a night off, I do believe, tonight.
All right.
Is that right?
National programming. Well, national programming.
Should have paid attention to Probables.
I should have paid attention to the problems. I'm the one who did them. It's silly me. Be well, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.